Hi everyone, it's Wonderfully Untamed, back again for a second video. In this video, I just want to catch everybody up on what the heck has happened to me in the last 10 years. First, I want to say I stayed natural. This is my natural hair, and these days I keep it in twists or braids, mostly because of the climate here in Ghana. I'll drop a few photos of what my hair has gone through over the last 10 years. I've done a big chop once or twice since my last natural hair video was published. I've let it grow out. I've grown it to waist length at some point after my second child was born. And then I got tired of spending hours and hours to wash it and detangle it, being a mom to two small kids, and then I chopped it off again. Very, very, very short. And I've been letting it grow out since my third child was born. So here are a few pictures featuring some of those styles over the last 10 years, just for those who are curious. Now, what else has been going on with me? Well, as I've mentioned, I'm a mother of three, two girls and a boy, still very happily married and in love. We just celebrated our 11th year of marriage. And I can also just catch you up on my journey as a mom and as a wife and a little bit about my career. I'm an educator. I was a teacher before I was married. I graduated with a Master of Arts degree in Education, Leadership, and Policy from Stanford. And then I opened a charter school soon after that, and then continued to work in school leadership and change management in schools. I served as a principal at a private school for gifted kids before finally becoming a mom and entering motherhood. And then that slowed everything down. So all the social media, all the Facebook, all the YouTube, editing videos, sitting on the phone, chit-chatting, all that stuff shut down. You want to talk about COVID shutting some stuff down? Motherhood shut some stuff down for me. I just didn't have time for any of it. I didn't even have time to sleep. So that's where I took my, 10 or 11 year hiatus, was from YouTube, trying to get some sleep. In fact, after my first child was born, I resigned from my job as a principal at the school for gifted children, and I just decided I wanted to focus on being a mom and a wife. And so by that next year, we actually had our second child was also a baby girl. Actually, we waited for all of my children. We waited until their deliveries to know their genders. So I never knew what gender I was having until somebody handed me a baby and said, it's a girl, it's a boy, So we had that a great experience of just being surprised after each child. So by year 2 of marriage, we were parents to 2 kids, a 1-year-old and a newborn. And that was a whole nother level of parenting, being a stay-at-home mom, and just, parenting is just not easy. I don't know, at least for me, I was just so caught off guard about how difficult the newborn years are. I did not know that you don't get any sleep. I didn't know that breastfeeding hurts like hell. I just didn't know a lot. I didn't know breastfeeding was as important as it is. Just following like magazines and Hollywood, etc. You just don't get the kind of preparation and the information that you need. And then I didn't live close to a lot of family. My mom is in another state. My dad was 4 hours from us. My brother and his wife were also 3 or more hours away, and sometimes they even lived in another state. We did have close family friends that have always sort of lived maybe 20 or 30 minutes from us. But I mean, when you live in the American lifestyle, everybody's busy all the time. So like just having that easy and accessible in-person network to, just really get support and get help. I just didn't have access to it, like easy shared parenting experiences. We just really didn't have it. So 2 years after my middle child was born, we had our third child, our son. And now, so between year 2 and year 3 of parenthood, we then got an autism diagnosis. So it was a journey. So while I was pregnant with the third child, I was sort of coming into the understanding that my middle child was not typically developing. And I can get into all that like later. I'm not going to get into those details in this video. But between baby 2 and baby 3, we got an autism diagnosis, which opened the door for us to get into some therapies, all the therapies, and we just hit the ground running. So the last 7 years have been just like tucking my kids under my arms, running from waiting rooms to evaluations to therapies. COVID happened, and then meanwhile, still trying to plan, and you're worrying, and you're trying, and you're failing, and you're crying, and you're just trying to build this family and make sure everybody could thrive and hit their marks in terms of their potential. And for me, when you're a teacher, at least to me, that's like the most important thing. I view almost everything through the lens of human development and potential, gifts and talents, giving kids the experiences they need so that they can reach that light that you see inside of them. And I just live for that. So we started into school eventually. All 3 of the kids entered into public school, and that also became its own struggle. Again, I won't go into the details of some of these components of my story today, but there'll be other opportunities because each turning point that I've mentioned sort of spins off into its own story. I really should just write a book. But we have moved to Ghana. We've moved to West Africa because we really just needed a landing pad. We have needed a place to just sort of like stand still, spread out, take a breath, and we were just not achieving that where we were in Texas. And I honestly don't think we would have achieved that anywhere in the United States, given the fast-paced, transactional culture in the United States system. So, but we have family here, and they've been encouraging us to come home, come home for quite a while. So I think for me, the last straw in the U.S. was dealing with the lack of response politically to the school massacres that we're having. I was just like, I can't take it anymore. I'm done. Something's got to give. We were not getting the support we needed in the public school system with raising and educating my daughter who has special education needs. And I was very active as a disability rights and special education advocate in our school district. I was very active. I was a consultant for other special education families in Texas who needed strong IEPs. If you're a parent of a special needs child or you're a disability self-advocate, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When I talk about IEPs, I was extremely active in our district and in our state, supporting disability rights. And we still were not getting what we needed. And I just knew that I couldn't keep that amount of school oversight over my daughter or any of my kids at that momentum for the next 18 years and still have all my marbles. I just couldn't do it. So when we started having to add the existential threat of school massacres to that level of uncertainty, I was like, we are done. So we made our plans and we made our exit. But we are thriving here. We are thriving. For my special education, my child with special education needs, she learned to swim from deep to shallow within 10 consecutive swim lessons, so I just know when you have a certain level of consistent support, really anything is possible. So that happened within a month of us getting here and getting settled. It's expensive to get private special needs swim lessons in the United States. It just costs so much in terms of time and money, and we were getting crumbs for what we were paying for. So I knew that if we kept going at that pace in the United States, my child would be 18 before she even learned to swim. And she loves the water, and I knew that she could do it. I knew she wanted to do it. So we brought her here, and within less than a month, 10 consecutive lessons, I kid you not, my child was jumping into the 10 feet, floating on her back by herself, backstroking, swimming underwater from the 10 feet to the shallow. So we literally got here and we just hit the ground running. I knew exactly what my kids needed. I started putting people in place and we just hit the ground running. My 2 other kids are in an international baccalaureate school here. They're playing tennis, doing piano, chess, learning Chinese, they're learning French. And I'm able to homeschool my middle child here. I have a homeschool team. And we homeschool her for 2 hours every morning before I then go into work as an education consultant for a private preschool here. So I'm just able to provide for my kids here the type of community and support that they need as human beings. And I can also continue to thrive as a human being, which I've just had to put on pause for so long. I just wasn't able to teach and consult at the capacity that I really wanted to, really just expand into my consulting practice when we were living in the States. So anyways, that is the long story, but still the shorter version of the last 10 years. And so here we are thriving in this unique lifestyle change. And I just want to end this by saying that any of you who are watching this video and it resonates, any parts of it resonates with your own journey, either as a mom to a child with special education needs, I would love to hear from you. And to my subscribers who are still rocking natural hair, let me hear how your journey has been over the last 10 years. Did you ever go back to relaxing? How many big chops have you had? Let's just reconnect. It's just been a very long time. There's so much to be said about my experience now as a mom, as an American mom, as a Black American mom, living outside of the country, raising bicultural, neurodiverse children, and I'm living so many different experiences all at once. It's really just incredible. So I look forward to hearing from everybody. I look forward to connecting. All right, everybody have a good night.